Double shot of shows tonight here on PT Pintcast. It's a podcast that saves physical therapists from missing out on amazing insight, remarkable ideas, and motivational stories in the world of physical therapy. They say the best conversations happen at happy hour. Welcome to ours. I'm Jimmy McKay. I'll be your bartender this evening, broadcasting live from the RES Medical Studios, also known as, it's pretty much just my living room, guys. Let's just be honest, in the COVID world. Find them online at aureusmedical.com. They're the leaders in hashtag travel physical therapy. Check out that website, what's available. Positions in all 50 states, in all settings. aureusmedical.com, aureusmedical.com. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and now video casting this. Although Mom did say I had the face for radio. She wasn't wrong. Video casting these on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at PT Pintcast on all the socials. Great show for you tonight. Digging in deep with a movement, a global movement that has been on the show several times, actually from the very beginning. Now that we ring in the 5th year of PT Pintcast, PTDOS service. We're digging in with some people behind the scenes that make this global initiative move. So let's bring in our first couple of guests here. Josh D'Angelo and Gail Bachman from PTDOS service.
Hey, so good to see you, Jimmy.
All right, guys. First question is always the hardest. We start with the tough ones right out of the gate. What are we drinking tonight?
Well, as you can see, I'm still in my scrubs.
You're still working.
So I have a nice kombucha, ginger aid, to get me through the next hour of documentation.
Like it. Josh, you're on the East Coast. What do you got, man?
I got water here, but I have a juicy IPA from Three Notch Brewery in the fridge cooling down. So it's one of my favorite breweries.
We're talking juicy IPAs. This is called the Juice Bomb from Steve Brewing here in the Hudson Valley, New York. Well, cheers to you guys. First round is brought to you by our friends from Owens Science, single source for PTs looking for certification in personalized blood flow restriction, rehabilitation training, and the equipment. They've upgraded some of their equipment, the Delphi equipment. You need to apply BFR in your clinic properly. So check them online, owensrecoveryscience.com. Now we got that out of the way, supporting the show. Josh, we were reminiscing not long ago on a call with you and myself and Afosa. The first PTDOS service event, we were at the Masonic Temple in Alexandria, Virginia, not far from the APTA headquarters. And that was what? That was 5 years ago?
It was 5 years ago, and you just brought it up as well. What I didn't realize today is that we've grown together, Jimmy. We're both new at the time, so it's been a pleasure watching you grow. We're so appreciative to you for having us on the show again. But it's been a fun journey the past 5-6 years now.
It's crazy. And you guys had, I just launched the podcast. I don't have it in front of me, but you guys were definitely within the first 10, 15 episodes. And I have it here. Hang on, I'll step off screen here, but you can still hear me because I got the headphone microphone, right? We've upgraded some of the equipment. We've got sound effects and all, we got cheering, everything like that. But back then it was a laptop and this microphone, which is not, I could hammer nails with this thing, but it was literally me walking around with a laptop and trying to interview people like this outside. It was a little bit of rain at the Masonic Temple, but we were standing out there and we were doing a stair climb.
And Jimmy, you're going like this. You're going lean in a little bit. So we're leaning into the microphone.
People were talking and you kept doing this. And I'm like, don't hear what you're saying. I'm like, dude, you got to come closer. That was us standing outside the Masonic Temple for PTDOS service. And I found out about it because the word was spread in our PT program at Marymount and like many others. And it was really the beginning of that whole word inertia, which is the idea of you got something heavy and just getting it moving is the hardest part. So whenever you start something like global PTDOS service, it really was fighting that inertia and getting it moving. And now it's 5 years in and it's gone global. So let's go big. For people who don't know, I want to make sure we start with the basics. Josh, when someone says, what's PTDOS service, how do you answer?
Well, I have to say that, Afosa is going to be on the show, hopefully. What are we planning for the day before PTDOS service or so? So I got to tease this a little bit. Afosa's got a great story about how PTDOS service started. And if I just give you the teaser, it has to do with the Amazon River and how about an idea on the back of Afosa's mind suddenly shot to the front of it. And if you guys have to tune in the day before PTDOS service, October 9th this year, to hear the full story. But I'll give you the glimpse of it. Right. The glimpse is that he had this idea and he shared the idea with me and we started discussing it back and forth via email. And I had the fortune to be good friends with Afosa and we shared a lot of ideas. But I remember when I got this idea, I was going to bed one night. I was reading through my emails, going on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, taking BuzzFeed quizzes at the time. I think it was a quiz for which Harry Potter character I was, and finally went back to my email. And there in my inbox was this gift from UofSC, this idea for a global PT Day of Service. And as I read it, Jimmy, I started having this visceral response. The hair on my skin stood up. My heart started beating faster. And I said, I have to respond right now. So I threw off the covers, went to my desk, opened up my laptop, and started typing out a response. And I think I said something to the effect of, UofSC, we not only have to do this, we can't not do it. Let's pursue it right now. So, Jimmy, we just started calling friends, friends like you, friends that I served on the student assembly board with, some advisors, professors, and started pitching the idea to them and said, what if we had this day where everyone in the PT profession committed to doing some sort of act of service for their community? What would that mean? What would that look like for the profession? And perhaps most importantly, what impact would it have for our communities? And thus a movement was born that became about local service for a global effect. So all of us leaning and contributing locally in our communities all around the world to have an impact on the entire world. What would it look like? What would it mean?
You can tell you've told that story, numerous times. We've done it on this show, obviously, when we have you guys on. We did the How I Built This episode for National Student Conclave in Albuquerque not long ago, and really went through the history of the timeline of PT Day of Service. I tell people in my line of work, communications and PT, that weird intersection I live in, I say, listen, don't just tell someone something, show them. But you didn't want to show people. You wanted them not to just be told or to be shown. You wanted them to do. And I think that's the big difference with PT Day of Service, which is we want you to join, but by joining, you must do, you get to do with us, and you're going to get more than you give. So I think that's something that people want to know. So now that we kind of have the backstory, UofSC will go deeper. Trust us. He will have a lot more pros. The date is 10/10. We want to make sure people know that. And the website for people out there, where can they go to find out more information, plus to pledge to serve? What is that?
Absolutely. And Jimmy, let me be additive to what you just said. Not only to pledge to do, but to pledge to feel. When I tell that story, I try to really feel it every time, and I do. And every year, PT Day of Service surprises us because it has a new feel and a new impact and a new theme each and every year, which we could talk about in a moment. But to answer your question specifically, pledging is simple. Just head to ptdayofservice.com, and it takes 30 seconds to sign up to participate. And that sign-up process is so important because it allows us to send communication and to develop a loop where you can share your project with us so that we can go on and share it across social media as well. So just ptdayofservice.com and pledge to serve as an ambassador or participant. Ambassadors lead service projects. Participants participate in the project itself. And we have ambassadors and participants pouring in from all across the world already this year.
I love that. Gail, how did you get involved with this? I mean, I got involved early because I was close enough in proximity with Josh and UofSC to the first event. Lots of people have participated from around the world, but you're behind the scenes moving that boulder up the hill with PT Day of Service. How'd you get involved?
Well, actually, Jen, who's going to hop on the call later, she was one of the volunteers that was on the first year with Josh and UofSC, helping to organize PT Day of Service, the first one. And she called me after that first year and said, you got to join. And of course, I had already volunteered in the first PT Day of Service. I was on it like immediately. I was in love with it. I love getting out there and working with the community. Like I said, I always feel like I get more than I give anytime I'm out and volunteering. So yeah, I've been with PT Day of Service ever since, and been honored to serve as the director for the past 2 years, and have learned just so much. And as we've grown, our team has grown, the depth of the services we've provided has grown, and even as I look through our Google Drive of the last 5 years, it's crazy. It's kind of like that picture of the microphone you have. That's like our Google Drive. Watch the growth and the number of spreadsheets change throughout the year.
So we're talking about growth. PTs love objective numbers. Like, put it in perspective, because again, Josh, the first time this was PT Day of Service, and then you literally had to change the name. It went to global because it truly became a global initiative. This is not just an American thing. This is a profession-wide, a worldwide thing. So throw some numbers at us and make us kind of try to picture how big this really is.
Yeah, so for the first time last year, we started looking at the collective numbers. So not just how do we do every year, but how many people have volunteered since the beginning. And what we were able to calculate is since 2015, We've brought together over 18,000 volunteers in all 50 states in the US with nearly 80 countries participating. So every year we have different countries participating, different groups of students. And honestly, I don't even think we capture the true numbers of people who participate, because many people who have done it year after year, they've just owned it now. So they're not always, although guys, go and pledge to participate.
If it's not, if it's what is not measured gets done. So, so let's go back to Josh in terms of specifics. So, all right, great. Someone's out there saying, I want to know more information. It's ptdaservice.com. They go there. If you get them at the website, you're saying it's an easy process. I've read on there, you can just do it in a couple of seconds. You want to start an event, you can do that. Or you can be a participant, you can do that. But it both starts at that website.
Absolutely. So just head to our website. And if you're not sure, you can scroll through some service project ideas. I think we have a special guest line up to share one idea, and we'll talk to Jen and Alyssa a little bit later about more. Just under the pledge button, there's also virtual service ideas and socially distanced ideas as well for projects. And so it's amazing to see the innovation and ingenuity of the community, because more than ever, we know that people want to serve, and hopefully we can help to show them how. There's so many great ideas that are going. There's so many great ways to contribute to the community. It's just about finding what you feel called to do. And an important distinction that we make every year is that it doesn't have to be related to physical therapy.
Yes.
Some people certainly offer pro bono services, but some people go and they clean up a local park. Some people paint to beautify an area. Some people contribute to a local garden. There's a vast, diverse number of ways that you can participate. So do what you feel that your community needs the most and you feel called to do.
If it's important to you, go do that in your community. Do it in the name of the profession. That's just going to make us look good. So you set a good example right there, which is, can it be something physical therapy related? Absolutely. Does it have to be? No. If I'm busy on 10/10, if I'm busy on October 10th, I've got a wedding, Josh, I can't participate. Does that mean I'm ruled out?
I know someone who has a wedding on October 10th, so we'll have to talk to him. He happens to be a co-founder of PTDOS, so we'll have to ask him and hopefully get him to get involved a little bit on the wedding. But absolutely, it's not as much about the day as about the idea. So we always say that if you're participating, make sure it is in a way that meets the needs of your community. And if it happens to be a week later, that's okay. Sign up and join us too. Share the moments that were had on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I don't think we're on TikTok yet, are we? That's a new one. So not quite yet. But nonetheless, we even have people who are serving over the course of a month because they found that the need for the community is bigger this year than ever before. So they decided to turn one project into 30 days of projects. And so we've really seen participants elevating what they're capable of and what they're planning to do to meet needs more than ever this year.
Yeah. There are no rules, right? What does service mean to you? We've asked that question before. And if it means something to you, physical therapy or non-physical therapy related, do it in the name of PTDOS service. Right. Gail, let's go back to you. How's PTDOS service built and maintain relationships with physical therapists literally around the world? You mentioned like 80 countries. How have you done that?
Yeah, so I actually this past weekend I had the honor of meeting with all of our global affairs team members, and we have people now who serve directly on our team that live in countries around the world. Shout out to Ayobami from Nigeria. We always say we're trying to aim for the Nigeria effect now, because he has managed to take PTDOS service and just explode it in Nigeria. We have like 200 volunteers out of Nigeria. It is amazing. Natalia from Jamaica. We've got all these people now that are on our core team that also live globally. So that's helped a bit. The other thing is we do have partners that are coming back year after year. So Myanmar Physiotherapy Development Foundation, they participate in PTDOS service and they own it so much. It's already, if you go on their Facebook, it's their banner for their Facebook picture. And so these individuals who participated year after year, they send us their photos. We try to capture a little bit of what they've done. But what we love is they've just taken the torch and they treat it as part of their service throughout the year.
I love that. And it truly is global. Again, that ptdaservice.com. All right, you guys hang out. We're going to take you off the screen right now because we want to give more tactics, right? We talked about tell and then show and then do. So we want to give some examples specifically in a COVID world. So let's drop, we're going to drop Josh and we're going to drop Gail, and we're going to bring in no stranger to the show from the University of South Carolina Gamecocks, Reed Handlery. Reed, welcome back to the program, my man.
Hey, Jimmy, how's it going?
I'm doing all right. We had you on the show not long ago doing some research down there from the University of South Carolina with the PT program, doing your PhD.
Absolutely.
It looks like you're not at a desk. You're not in a PT clinic. You're on a rowing machine, Reed.
Nope.
What are you doing?
Yep, I am training for the Gamecock Challenge, which is an event that we are holding for PTDOS service.
I love that. All right, so lay it out for us. How's it going to go? And then kind of walk us backwards on why you decided to go that way. So give us the challenge first.
Absolutely. So the Gamecock Challenge is a challenge to all PT, PTA programs. But then if any other group is interested in winning this cool 18-inch Gamecock trophy, they can compete as well. Although I don't know who would be interested in Agoni other than physical therapy people, but who knows? So the Gamecock Challenge is combining fundraising and then also an athletic competition, which in this case is going to be rowing 50,000 meters as a team. So probably going to ask, how can you do that during a pandemic? Well, there's multiple ways to do that. So you can do it virtually, as in maybe I go to my gym, I do my row, maybe it's 500 meters, and then person B does their 1,000 meters, and then you add it up until you get to 50,000 meters. That's one option. You can also do the socially distant option, where you get together, hopefully you're wearing some PPE, and you spread it out, and you do it as a group. One person hops on the rower, clean the rower, right? Hand sanitization, always good. And then the next person hops on until you get to that 50,000 meters. So that's the athletic part. But the big purpose is fundraising. So you can actually reduce time off your row time by fundraising. This can be for any organization of your choice. It can be, in order to actually get in the challenge, you have to pay donate $20 to the APTA's campaign for future generations. And there's two funds with that. It's the Diversity Fund and then also the Minority Scholarship Fund. So we're really targeting diversity with this effort.
I love that. It sounds like
I'll stop talking. I realized I just rambled for 3 minutes. So go ahead.
No, you were explaining. I was following along. You're not rambling. I love how you were innovative, and my definition of innovation I stole from someone else, which is innovative if you want to think about it. Is you find a problem that everybody else says it's not my problem, and you solve it. So you're looking to get involved with PTDOS service, looking to get involved in fundraising. You're looking to get involved with just getting people involved. And you said, how can we do that? COVID. A lot of people would have just said, I'm checked out. We can't do it this year. I'll come back next year maybe. And you said, listen, we're going to do rowing. We're going to make that our thing, but we're also going to incorporate fundraising. And the reason I wanted to have this on, well, first of all, it's innovative, it's fun, it's easy to follow, it's athletic, it has a lot of physical therapy elements to it. Plus, it raises funds for the DE&I efforts and the minority scholarship efforts of APTA. So you really created something around movement, and we're movement experts, as well as directing funds. Yep. This, to me, seems exactly right down the middle for PTDOS service, but what I wanted to bring you on was people can create their own, whatever that is inspired by, in your world, you can do that. So I wanted to bring you on because I thought it was a great, innovative, different, out of the box idea. You got a trophy, which is smart, which I'm all of a sudden thinking I want to be involved in an event where we have like some sort of championship belt, because who doesn't want to have a giant WWE championship belt? I'm going to write that down.
Everyone wants that.
Everybody wants that, so I'm going to do that. But I think it's fantastic. If someone wants to get involved in your event virtually, Reed, where do they go for that?
Absolutely. I can post the link. I don't know if you guys can see that, but essentially, yeah, in the comments. So we have an official rule book. So this is a really planned event. So if you're worried about safety or how you're going to find a rower or any of those details, you can find that in our official rule book. We put a lot of thought and effort to this at the University of South Carolina.
Reed, drop it in there.
And I
clean the rowing machine.
I forgot to mention, Jimmy. I also forgot to mention. So the more money you raise, the more time is taken off your row time. So if you're stuck at rowing, that's okay. Raise more money. You're going to get it off the row time and take home this 18-inch Gamecock Golden Goni and put it in your school.
I like that. 50,000 meters. All right, there we go. The Gamecock Challenge. The link is in the comments below. Reed, anything else you want to add? Why someone else should want to get involved with PTDOS service, with your event or with anybody's event, or starting their own?
Absolutely. So the beauty of the Gamecock Challenge is you can combine it with something else. So maybe you're fundraising for local bikes in your community or a park. you can combine that, still take home the trophy, and then actually work for your community. So an effort or a cause that's valuable or meaningful to your community. So you can double dip.
I like that. Reed, smart. Good luck to you. And I want to see some results. You want to give us a couple of rows as we fade you out there?
Yep. It's all been training here. Here we go.
There you go. I'm not rowing against Reed. Do you have any room on your team? Can I be on your team at all? I'll be on your team. All right, Reed, thanks so much. Appreciate it. All right, staying with the PT Day Service team, let's bring in Jen, and let's bring in Alyssa. There we go. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Hi, thank you.
All right, ladies, what do we got? What are we drinking? I'm almost out, by the way. We've been talking for...
Well, I have a Golden State cider from Sonoma County, California, where I grew up. So quite delicious.
I like that. And how about Jen? What do you got?
I have a classic Wisconsin Sprecher root beer here. Not beer, as we're coming up on the 36th.
Hey!
So due date, not quite PT Day Service, but we're looking at October 12th for this one. So
hey,
the root beer.
All right. Well, hey, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, ladies, to bring you in, you guys are also working with Josh, UofSC, with Gail, with the rest of the PT Day Service team. Let's talk specifics. PT Day Service options for this year. We just talked to Reed. He created this random event that doesn't make any sense until it makes sense, right? He's got movement, he's got fundraising, he's got social competition. And he figured out how to do it. The Gamecocks figured out how to do it in a socially distanced world. So I want some more tactical examples where PTs were creative, but sometimes we need a little kick in the butt. You know what I mean? A little kick in the glute. I want to talk about tactical examples. What are some creative ideas from around the world that you guys are seeing come in as pledges at ptdayservice.com?
Yeah. You want to start, Alyssa?
Yeah. So Jen is from our support team. This year, one of the biggest things that they've had to adjust to is providing different ideas and options. We have on the website options for, as Josh pointed out, the virtual and socially distant options. So there are multiple lists of different ideas, but I'll let Jen lead off with some of the work that they've specifically done and the project that they've seen come in, because there have been some awesome ideas coming through.
Yeah. So I think, one of the things is that can intimidate people is that they think, man, how do I even do this during this pandemic? So I think we're really trying to, instead of making people feel like it needs to be really innovative or needs to be really creative, it's what's really pulling at you right now during this time. What is something that you feel like you can do to contribute? So we've really seen a lot of people thinking about, what folks in our world right now might be affected a lot by this pandemic. So I think one really poignant example are some of the folks that aren't being seen as much or as often by their families. So you're thinking people in the hospitals, people in the nursing homes, those folks that aren't getting that one-on-one visitation. So some really neat ideas we've seen that have still been able to be social distance would be, it's called Letters for Isolation for folks in skilled nursing facilities. It's called Sunshine Cards for hospitalized kids. And I'm seeing PT programs coming up with these amazing drives where they can still stay socially distanced, do these letters, be really creative with them. And instead of having, one-on-one big events at these facilities, being able to still show that tender touch and that communication. So that's one example. As far as, the socially distanced, the virtual, you can do anything. We've shown folks that it can be as simple as going to a park or a beach and just yourself that day, cleaning up, to as elaborate as organizing a huge fundraiser. One of the biggest ones that's been really kind of fun to hear about is, as PTs, right, we're kind of junkies for physical activity. So we've heard a lot about people saying, you know what, there is a way to do a 5K and have it be virtual. And there's this movement on these virtual 5Ks, but being able to make it really fun. And there's various organizations and ways you can go about and campaign through it. So we have, when you do pledge on PT Day of Service, if you want more information on, well, how would I organize that? Or what would I do? We send all of our ambassadors who are organizing these resource lists of, go to this organization, they can get you set up with this. Here's an example that we see happening. So we're here to help you. I literally am emailing people back from everywhere from Ethiopia to around the country here. And it's been really fun to, just you know, I've got my 2 kiddos here and I have a kid due in a month, and here I'm emailing somebody from Ethiopia, helping them out, you know, on things to think about. But it's an interesting time right now. And just, again, kind of going back to what's pulling at you. And some folks have said, you know what, everything going on in the world with social justice, that's really been pulling at me. And how can and so we've just really worked hard at trying to get as much information to folks. So again, the first step, like Josh said, is pledging, but we're here to help folks. So we've got the info, we've got all these resources and some pretty cool examples. So
go to that website, right?
Yeah,
if you're inspired, if this sounds like something you want to do, go and plead ignorance. It's what I do. I have no idea how I'm going to do this, and you start with what Jen just said. What's pulling at you? And I always say, like, start from what inspires you. That's the thing you're going to follow through with, right? As PT, what exercise should I do? What do you like? That's the one you're going to follow through with.
Exactly.
So start and in mind. Who do you want to help, or who inspires you in your community? Does it need to be an elaborate 50K rowing event? Like, it could be. Doesn't have to be. It could be just you doing something great, and maybe you'll get bit by the bug. But reach out to PTDOS Service, Jen and Alyssa, and you guys have been doing this for half a decade right now. So you've got the resources that you can say, this person down the street is doing an event. Maybe you can just go and participate in their event. Or if you want to start your event, we've got a few ideas, and that's the idea. We mentioned 70, 80 countries. Can we bring up the map? Like, how far this thing is actually gone? So every little dot we're looking at on the screen is someone who has pledged a PTDOS Service event. We see a lot in the United States, but wow, you're talking about Ethiopia. You're talking about, I'm seeing over in India. I'm seeing in South America. I would love to see some more things on this map, though. I want to see if we can make Jen and Alyssa a little bit more busy in the email front, just to around.
Yes, bring it on. And you know what's so cool about this, Jimmy, is folks can go on here and they can get ideas, or they can just contact someone in their area. We've also made the 2018 and 2019 map available. So it gets people's wheels rolling of, okay, I don't even know where to start. What are people doing here? And so, they can click on there. And Alyssa knows a lot more about the map because she used to be all in control of it. And so you might have some more things to share, Alyssa, about this crazy map and how awesome it is.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that you guys are saying, listen, people have done this. Do we want you to reinvent the wheel? If that comes to you, do it. We'll help facilitate that. But if you want to find an event in your community, great. If there isn't an event in your community, we've got a list of events we can share with you and say, here's what people have done. And one of those things is going to spark something in you. And you're going to say, yes, that resonates with me. I want to get involved with that.
Yep.
Alyssa, in terms of pivoting and projects pivoting like reads in a COVID world, what else have you seen from around the world? You guys have a really cool vantage point of creativity at a global level.
I think similar to what Jen was talking about with cards, I was not actually able to get PTDOS Service off this year. So I work in a hospital setting, and I'm actually going to be bringing patients and all of my coworkers in to be making cards for other patients who are in facilities in our area, hopefully over a whole maybe week or two time span, so that we can really hit most of the nursing homes and long-term care facilities around us. So I really drew that idea from what we had seen from other people with the organizations that Jen mentioned. So just lots of great ideas.
I've got one cool one I saw. You can literally be at your computer and do virtual mentorship. It's called Scholar Match. So if you're like, you know what, I'm not gonna be able to leave my apartment and I'm just still studying for this clinical, you can go on and we have this Scholar Match. You can be a virtual mentor. You can donate blood, and you can have your own little campaign with your family. It's called the Sleeves Up campaign through American Red Cross, and say, you know what, I'm gonna go donate blood. Maybe I can get a few friends. It doesn't have to be huge. And you know what? Sometimes you start small and then all of a sudden it becomes huge. Like this one organization called Free Bikes for Kids that I've been doing every year, and everything from donating the bikes to going and helping repair them. There's locations all over the country now, and it started just in Minnesota where I am. And so it can start small and it can grow big, and just doing something where you feel like, you know what, this is pulling at me. And it's been so cool to see our profession come together on this one day. It doesn't always matter what you're doing, but your intention behind it and knowing that the impact is going to be good. You've thought it out and it's something you feel really good about, and we're all doing it in the same time of year. it's a pretty cool thing. And I think PTs just rock. And it shows that, you know what, we're a profession that's very much about servant leadership and our communities. So yeah, fun stuff.
I'm gonna bring that map back up on the screen, because you're saying it doesn't have to be anything major, but if people on this map, especially in the blank areas of this map, right? If we zoom into the United States, if we're saying that if it's a little thing, if it's a little change, that can make a big difference. So it doesn't need to be, you don't need to organize the biggest event you've ever done. Start small. I would encourage, do something really small, but do something. That's the idea behind PT Day of Service. So do that. Again, that website is ptdayofservice.com, or on the socials. And again, on PT Day of Service, as well as the day before, as we look back at previous years and previous PT Day of Services, which is on the map, and you can look at examples from everywhere those little dots are. We're going to see this thing start to expand. And that's what I want to hear from you guys. So make sure you chime in and let us know what you're doing, because you just might go and inspire some other people to chime in. All right, let's bring everybody back in. They've been sitting backstage. We got Josh, we got Gail, we got Reed, he's probably half under 50,000 meters at this point. And we will say our staff as well, who help with this podcast, Bridget and Juliette, you guys are also on the PT Day of Service team as well.
Oh, yeah. I was like reading all the comments.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I wanted everybody to answer this question. The thing that drew me most to PT Day of Service to get involved, and you guys are all involved both behind the scenes for the team, as well as Reed, who created his own event. We'll start with Bridget. What drew you to working with PT Day of Service? What was it that resonated with you that said, yeah, this is something I want to spend my free time doing?
I mean, I always liked service. So just the idea of getting to connect and do that service project and know that there's a ton of other people all over the place. And it kind of just connects us all.
Yeah. When you know other people are in it with you, it kind of makes, many hands make light work, right? Juliette, what inspired you to get involved with PT Day of Service, something like this?
Yeah, so I started with PT Day of Service when I was a first-year PT student, and it was just to see what other opportunities there are for physical therapists and students and physical therapist assistants outside of the clinic. So just bringing everyone together and helping the community.
Yeah, can't be there. Gail, what was it about PT Day of Service that resonated with you that said, I'm going to put forth effort?
I think, all of us are going to say we love service. I love this team. This team is what keeps me going. We've had like these, team meetings right from the beginning when COVID was hitting. And it's the one thing that makes my heart soar is all these individuals that just are so passionate, so committed, not only to doing service in their own area, but everyone on this call, they're helping to spread that across the world. And I'm just so honored to be a part of it. Everyone on the call knows I'll just start crying if I talk about it.
We don't have many tears in the show, but I do like it. Alyssa, same question for you.
When I was a student, I was already volunteering quite a bit in the DC area. And then my second year, Josh was actually my professor at George Washington. So the second I heard him tell the story, I guess 5 years ago now, I knew that I had to get involved. And then, as Gail said, the team has really kept me here. And it's been incredible to watch just how everything has grown over the past 5 years that I've been involved.
Plus, if Josh is your professor and you get involved, probably points on the quiz or something like that. I'm just throwing that out there. Jen, you could be doing a lot of things. You said you got some kids off camera and you got one on the way, but what made you want to get involved?
Yeah, well, that I've been in it since the first year, and when Ifosa just called me up and he told me about it, I thought, well, Ifosa's a really pretty cool guy, and he said that Josh is joining him. I thought, well, I've got to do anything that he's calling me for. I know anything he touches is going to be meaningful, but no reality. The idea for me when he was explaining his thought and his vision, there's something so powerful in being part of something that's so much bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
And I think physical therapy is that in a lot of ways and how we can empower our patients. But this movement itself, it's like just so humbling to be part of something so much bigger than you. So that's what inspires me every year. And that's why I said yes that first year. I thought, man, these guys have this crazy idea, but I think this might actually work.
I like it.
And it did.
Reed, for you're put on a pretty advanced event. I want to make sure people listening and watching know that, you can take on a big challenge like Reed and the University of South Carolina is doing. But, what made you inspired to have a pretty big lift?
So it's not as hard to sign up and do it as we're talking up, but it is. I going after what was just said. I think physical therapy is an awesome profession. I think everyone here agrees with that. But I think we can even do more, and together we can do more and be more impactful. So as far as why I want to get involved with service and do something big, because we can, and we can do it together. So that's why I really want to be part of that.
Yeah, Sharon's not here, but I just feel like the words resonating in my headphones. Better together right there. And Josh, you were there from the start with the FOSTA, but what keeps you coming back? I guess I'll ask you that one, Josh. What keeps you coming back and keeps you inspired about this event every year?
Yeah, Jimmy, well, it's really a yes, yes, and yes to everything everyone has said. Yes, it's the service. Yes, it's the team. Yes, it's doing this together. And it really strikes me more than ever that this year, it's been a challenging year. You know, we're at the forefront of a global pandemic. There's been a mass movement toward racial justice, the biggest movement perhaps in decades. And also we're starting to see the impact of climate change. And so this year, I feel that more than ever, we're all in it together. And we can choose to act together. We can choose to rise together. We can choose to heal together. And we can choose to serve together. And I genuinely believe that if we do that, we can come together to create a better world. And that's why our theme this year is exactly that. It's together.
I love that. And the FOSTA's not here. He's not on the call right now, but I just feel like his presence is being made known somehow.
So
I guess, that was kind of all your parting shots. We were able to get a bunch in for this episode, but the idea here is really the call to action is go to ptdayservice.com. Take a look, see what inspires you, see if you can somehow interact. And then if it does, pledge, and then do that little thing. Maybe something a little bit bigger, and together we'll move that needle. And again, that date is October 10th, in or around there. This is a big date for some of the people in this organization as well. We'd love to see you more involved if you've never been, or come back if you've been involved somewhere in the 5 years. And we're going to have another live show the day before. I think we're going to do it Friday, as well as the actual PT Day of Service. We're going to go around the world. We're going to give you a glimpse into what PT Day of Service looks and sounds like from around the world. So to all of you here and to people who are listening who are going to get involved, I want to say thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. Thanks, team. You're fantastic.
Hey, Jimmy.
We'll talk to you guys again soon.
Thank you all.